Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and I've got another narrated Pokemon battle for you. So this is a battle against Gamer MZ. Looking at his team, he has Volcarona. That Pokemon is always a scary threat. He's got Greninja, and I'm pretty sure that's Ash Greninja, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that one. Pokemon that I'm using in this one are some of the Pokemon I've been wanting to use. So Mega Sceptile is one that I haven't used in a while. I'm also bringing Caesar, not Mega Caesar, but just Caesar. And I'm also bringing Gyarados because I haven't used base Gyarados in a long time. So I'm going to lead Gyarados. This one has the Flyinium Z. Flyinium Z on Gyarados is actually pretty interesting, as this thing's going to Air Slash at me, and that just shows me that this thing's probably Scarfed. That's what I'm thinking it is. It's a Scarfed, Air Slashing Togekiss that's meant to flinch out the opponent. So here, I've already been flinched twice. I'm going to switch into Mr. Whiskers, because Mr. Whiskers has the Assault Vest, and it should be able to take these air slashes pretty decently, as yes, it does. And I know that this thing is Choice Scarf because it outsped Gyarados pretty easily. So my opponent's going to go into Tapu Fini here, get the Misty Surge up. That's a pretty big counter to Mr. Whiskers. I just went for Fire Blast to get some sort of damage, as that does barely anything to Tapu Fini. So I'm going to take a Moonblast. I was actually expecting my opponent to predict a switch there, as I just go for a U-turn. I didn't want to just switch into something. I knew Mr. Whiskers was slower, so we just go U-turn and we have the advantage of we could pick whoever we want to switch in. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Sceptile now. So I'm going to go ahead and Mega Evolve. Mega Sceptile, I'm hoping can one-shot this thing from the range that it's at now. That's what I'm hoping, at least, because that would be pretty nice. I'm going to go for Giga Drain here, as Tapu Fini actually lives that. So now Mega Sceptile is going to take a Moonblast to the face, and that will be enough to completely destroy my Mega Sceptile. So what I probably should have done was go for the Leaf Storm, get as much damage, but I honestly thought that there was a better chance of taking out Tapu Fini. It might have been a roll, I'm not sure, but we have Dragonite in now. And the reason I went into Dragonite here is because I'm going to go for a Dragon Dance. I have the weakness policy on this Dragonite, and I'm hoping that I can at least take one Moonblast. I'm pretty sure I should be able to, as yes, I end up living that Moonblast. So that's really nice for me. Dragonite has just activated its weakness policy. So I'm hoping now that I'll be able to punch a big hole in my opponent's team, as my opponent's actually going to save the Tapu Fini and go into a Moongus. So a Moongus is usually very physically bulky, as this extreme speed still does a lot of damage thanks to the crit. So that's actually really nice. The problem now is it had an Iapa Berry, so it just healed itself back up, and I don't think another extreme speed should do the trick. So I'm just going to go Outrage here, just get rid of this thing. I'm looking at it. If I can get rid of this thing, that will help my team a lot. The problem is my opponent could easily go into Tapu Fini, but my opponent actually goes into Greninja and then into Togekiss. So I don't know if maybe the Greninja was a misclick. There is a possibility that could have been a misclick, because if my opponent went into this thing, there was not much I could even do to it because I'm locked into Outrage. So now we're going to take an Air Slash. Of course, this thing is an annoying Togekiss set, and it's going to still be enough to take out Dragonite. I'm going to go into Caesar now, because I know this thing is Choice Scarfed, and I could just hit this thing with a Bullet Punch. I'm going to be able to outspeed it with a priority move, and it will do quite a bit of damage, but it's actually going to live that in the red HP. So now we're going to take a nasty Air Slash, as looking at this, yes, there's no reason for me not to go for another Bullet Punch. My opponent switched out into Latios, but I still think going for Bullet Punch would be the safest play here, just because I don't want that thing to be able to do as much damage as it's already doing to my team. So now this Latios is actually going to be my opponent's Mega in this battle, and Mega Latios has some pretty good attack, special attack. I'm just going to go for a Bullet Punch, hoping that even after the Mega Evolution, it's enough to take it out, as yes, that Bullet Punch will be enough to finish off the Latios. So now my opponent's going to go into Volcarona, and I'm kind of nervous about this thing because it could set up Quiver Dances. So instead of swapping out, I'm going to stay in and try to hit it with something. I don't have anything really super effective against it, but Caesar is going to go down here. I didn't want it to get a free Quiver Dance, and I do have the Choice Band on my Caesar, so it's not like I could have switched its move anyway. So now my opponent's going to go for Quiver Dance, and this thing is still a pretty big threat, even though I do have a water type here. I'm going to go ahead, pop my Z move. I'm going to go for the Supersonic Sky Strike. So the thing about Gyarados is its only really decent flying move is Bounce. So that's what's powering the Supersonic Sky Strike. Supersonic Sky Strike is actually, I think, one of the best Z moves because there's not that many Pokemon that really want to take a hit from flying types. And the thing is, a few of the Pokemon that could actually take a hit from flying types don't want to switch in on a Gyarados. So this thing is actually going to be holding the Focus Sash, as the Supersonic Sky Strike takes it down to 1 HP, and my opponent's just going to go for the Fiery Dance, and that's going to be enough to finish off my poor Gyarados. So now I'm going to go into my Mimikyu, and I'm hoping that Mimikyu could slowly turn the tide of battle for me. So now my opponent's going to actually save the Volcarona and go into Greninja. So I'm thinking maybe this is for the Water Shuriken, as I'm just going to go ahead, set up a Swords Dance because I know from my disguise I would be able to live at least one hit. And instead of going for Water Shuriken like I thought my opponent would, my opponent actually goes for a Dark Pulse. So I think maybe this one does not have the Water Shuriken. I'm just going to go for a Play Rough. That's super effective on this Greninja, and it will be enough to take it out. So now I'm hoping Mimikyu can slowly turn the tide of this battle back into our favor. So now Togekiss is going to come out, and Togekiss is not going to take a Shadow Sneak. Not from this range, so that's what I'm going to do. Go for a Shadow Sneak. I don't want to be flinched out by Air Slashes anyway, and we know this thing is a Scarfed Air Slashing Togekiss. So we're going to go ahead, Shadow Sneak, finish that one off, and now Tapu Fini will come in. And Tapu Fini is also in red health, so it's going to set up the Misty Surge, but the good thing for us is that's not the Psychic Surge. So we're just going to go for another Shadow Sneak, and that will be enough to take out the Tapu Fini. Critical hit did not matter there, not from that range of health. Tapu Fini goes down. So Mimikyu is turning the tide of this game back in our favor big time because Volcarona's here. It's only got 1 HP. It's not going to live a Shadow Sneak either. So Mimikyu really pulling through for us here, especially after a Swords Dance. It's doing wonderful here. So if you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in the next Pokemon video.